Small teams, when formed by the right people, don't just compete with giants, they bring them down. Facebook, Microsoft, Airbnb, all started with a small team, 5 people or less, before becoming the empires we know today. Back then, they weren't market leaders, but small startups challenging titans like MySpace, IBM, Ritz-Carlton, and Four Seasons. These companies already had experience, loyal customers, and a significant market share. But think quickly, which of them still dominate the scene today? The truth is, you too can make a big impact or even a small revolution if you prefer. But no one does it alone. Successful companies might have started with small teams, but the secret was in selecting the right people. If you're David entering the battle, you can't rely on just any group of soldiers. You need warriors ready to take your business to the top. And who are they? What are the 5 key pieces to form an unbeatable team? Let's explore that now. First, we have the analyst. Now, the analyst. Ideally, this piece is you. You should be the first link in the team. Your role is to anticipate the game before it even begins. It's your responsibility to identify patterns, establish a solid foundation, and kick things off. The analyst, as the name suggests, is the master of numbers. Only you can play this role because only you have access to all the data and need to create a strong enough base to drive your business without falling into the abyss. This is where many founders fail. They fall in love with the product, but don't truly understand the business itself. They don't know how much it costs to acquire a new customer, nor which metrics really matter. Without this understanding, they can't spot flaws as they emerge, until it's too late. An example of this was WeWork. In 2019, the company was valued at $47 billion and seemed on the brink of revolutionizing the workplace. But when investors began to analyze the numbers more closely, the story changed. The company lost 90% of its market value. The business model wasn't sustainable, spending was irresponsible, and leadership ignored all the warning signs. This happens when a company doesn't have a true analyst. Any venture can turn into a failure if it doesn't understand 3 fundamental aspects: revenue and costs, how much money is coming in and how much is going out; efficiency, what's working, what's broken, where are the bottlenecks; scalability, if the business grows, will it be able to keep up with demand? If you've ever watched shows like Shark Tank or Dragon's Den, you know how investors react when a founder can't answer simple questions about their own business. They immediately tune out. For them, passion doesn't generate profit. But revenue, margins, and scalability do. Numbers never lie. And when you understand them, you can use them to predict the future. That's why the analyst is also a truth hunter, someone capable of seeing problems before they happen. Their focus on monitoring metrics allows them to find leverage points that turn business weaknesses into strengths. They are the ones who understand how every decision impacts financial outcomes. At this stage, you can't delegate this function. You need to be the person who knows your business better than anyone else. When you reach this level of understanding, your decisions become more precise, your moves more strategic, and you start seeing opportunities that were hidden in the risks. And this is where your journey begins to gain the necessary momentum. And it's when you're ready to make the next essential hire. The operator. The operator is your second hire, and their mission is to take over the tasks that prevent you from focusing on what really matters. It may seem confusing at first, but let me explain. As the business grows, the demands of everyday life increase, and your schedule fills up with operational tasks. There comes a time when you can no longer dedicate the necessary time to analyze numbers and look for ways to improve results. That's when the operator comes in. The operator's role can vary depending on the type of company. For example, if you have a farm, the operator is the one who takes care of the crops, while you deal with suppliers and customers. In a tech startup, the operator manages product development, coordinates the engineers, and ensures the platform keeps running, while you focus on securing investments, partnerships, and growing the user base. Over time, this person may evolve into the role of COO, Chief Operating Officer, the Operations Director, who becomes the central figure maintaining the daily operations of the company. Their job is to ensure everything runs smoothly and efficiently, so you have space to think strategically and continue growing the business. The relationship between the analyst, you, the founder, and the operator is one of the most fundamental in any successful business. This model repeats itself constantly. Steve Jobs had Tim Cook, Walt Disney had Roy Disney, and in the early days of PayPal, while Peter Thiel thought long-term, Keith Rebois handled the day-to-day operations, creating systems to prevent fraud, ensuring compliance with banks, and developing tools that allowed users to solve problems on their own, making the company more efficient. Being the second hire and one of the most important, choosing the operator needs to be strategic. Of course, they must have the necessary skills, but they also need to align with the company culture and values. The operator doesn't just execute, but questions your ideas and asks the right questions to ensure both of you are aligned on the direction of the business. They must be able to manage people, systems, services, and products independently without relying on you for every small detail. And it's crucial that you have good synergy. Similar communication styles help avoid misunderstandings and coordination failures. The operator is the jack of all trades who can handle multiple tasks at once, always with calm and efficiency. Now let's meet the third essential team member, the builder. The builder is the first person on your team who really knows what they're doing. While the operator handles various tasks to keep everything running, the builder has one sole objective: to create your product. These professionals usually have a deeper technical knowledge than you, but they aren't interested in starting their own business. What they seek is to build and innovate without getting involved in the frustrations of running a company. And if your project doesn't succeed, no hard feelings, they move on and seek new challenges. In the farm example, the builder would be the soil fertility expert capable of optimizing the production of any crop. In a coffee shop, they would be the barista who masters the art of making the perfect latte, worthy of being shared on social media. At the highest level, it's someone like Johnny Ive, who turned Steve Jobs' visions into iconic Apple products produced at scale. Over time, this person may assume roles like Chief Product Officer, CPO, Chief Designer, or Head of Engineering. But in the beginning, their job is simple: to create the best possible version of your product or service. The builder is the person who makes the difference between a mediocre product and something everyone talks about. They ensure that your business isn't just good enough, but something exceptional. They challenge your ideas and strive for excellence, even when you're willing to accept something simpler. They don't need to manage people or worry about operations. What they need is space, tools, and freedom to create. That's why we often don't even hear about the builder. You know the product, you may even know who the CEO of the company is, but the builder? Almost no one knows who they are. And that's exactly the profile you should be looking for. If you choose the right person, they will not only improve your product, but make it iconic. How to identify a true builder. They talk about details, not just concepts. They are obsessed with what they do and seek environments where they can innovate. They have no interest in running the business, they only want to build. Builders thrive in environments where they can create without having to worry about management. If, during the conversation, the person expresses a desire to take control of the business, be cautious. They are not a builder, but rather a future operator. Now, let's meet the fourth essential team member, the seller. The fourth essential member of your team is the seller. In the beginning, you are the one talking to customers and consumers. After all, no one knows your product better than you, and at first, you're the only employee. However, this is one of the biggest mistakes made by new entrepreneurs: getting too involved in operations and leaving the business without a true sales leader. This is where the sales and marketing expert comes in, the person capable of turning interest into real money. A great salesperson is not just persuasive. They understand human psychology, pricing strategies, and how to turn objections into opportunities. An example of this is Safra Catz, one of the greatest salespeople of our era. She was pivotal in transforming Oracle into an empire of corporate software. She led 130 acquisitions, structured billion-dollar deals that kept major companies tied to Oracle's ecosystem for years, and sold the company's vision to governments, corporations, and tech giants. But what makes a salesperson so influential? They don't just sell a product, they sell certainty. They create the entire negotiation environment before the final conversation even happens. They know how to handle pressure, no matter who's in the room. They turn a simple sale into a strategic and convincing negotiation. The salesperson is key to your product's success. They need to be persuasive and clear, but they should also understand your brand, your customers, and the best way to sell without devaluing what you offer. This professional should be comfortable with rejection, aggressive in seeking new opportunities, and relentless in closing deals. Now, with an operator, a builder, and a salesperson on your team, your business stops being just a startup and becomes a true machine. The storyteller. The fifth essential member of your team is the storyteller. If you're building your business just for yourself, you might not need this person. After all, you can tell any story you want to motivate yourself. But when your business starts to grow beyond you, the situation changes completely. The storyteller is, essentially, the one who makes the company cool, or more importantly, who brings your brand to life. It can be a single person like Steve Jobs at Apple, or even an entire department like Red Bull's, which managed to associate its brand with extreme sports and adventure rather than just energy drinks mixed with alcohol. If you have a fashion brand, your clothes aren't just pieces of fabric. They represent a movement, a lifestyle, an identity. If you have a restaurant, the story behind it isn't just about the food. It involves nostalgia, innovation, culture, or any other element that makes your brand unforgettable. A great storyteller doesn't limit themselves to advertising. They shape the public's perception of your brand. Nike doesn't just sell sneakers. It sells the story of determination and victory. Lego doesn't just sell plastic blocks. It sells creativity and imagination. As the fifth hire and the one responsible for your business's external perception, choosing this person should be done with great care. The storyteller can't just be a marketing specialist. They must have a deep understanding of people, culture, and identity. Bazoma St. John is a perfect example of this. She helped shape the identities of giants like Uber, Apple, Netflix, and PepsiCo. At Apple Music, she transformed the streaming platform into a cultural symbol, not just a music service. At Uber, during a reputation crisis, she helped rebuild the brand's image by focusing on human connection, movement, and accessibility. A good storyteller anticipates cultural shifts and positions their brand at the forefront of them. They capture the essence of what makes their company unique and amplify it strategically. When you find the right storyteller, your business not only becomes relevant, it becomes unforgettable. The big hire. As a bonus for making it this far, we need to talk about the big hire. Every company reaches a point where growth begins to turn into chaos. What once worked starts to fail. Systems that were once efficient start to break. Revenue stagnates, decisions seem bigger, but progress becomes slower. It's at this moment that you'll need the big hire, a specialist in the one thing that urgently needs fixing. Unlike the first team members, who are generalists, the big hire is an absolute expert. This person can be an authority in areas like operations, finance, product development, or systems design. The key is that they possess a deep knowledge of the industry, and their expertise has a direct impact on the company's growth, revenue, or strategy. But be careful. Bringing this person on too early won't help. If you do, they'll be underutilized or, worse, may cause more confusion than progress. It was precisely this big hire that helped some of the world's most recognized brands reach the top. When Burberry's sales were in decline, Angela Ahrendts was hired. A retail and brand expansion expert, she revitalized the brand with aggressive digital campaigns, maintaining its exclusivity and prestige. Later, when Apple needed to turn its stores into cultural and innovative spaces, Angela was called again, redefining the Apple Store experience. In the tech world, Sundar Pichai is a classic example of a big hire. He led the development of Google Chrome, later took on Android, optimizing its growth. Today, he's at the helm of Alphabet, shaping the future of AI and cloud computing. Each of these big hires was made to solve one specific big problem. First, you identify what the biggest obstacle for the company is. Then, you bring in the most qualified expert to solve it. These are the people who break the glass ceiling for you. And if you stop to think about it, that's how David defeated Goliath. He was analyst, studying the situation, understanding his strengths, and identifying the enemy's weakness. Operator, creating a plan and executing it without hesitation. Builder, choosing smooth stones to increase the accuracy and speed of the shot. Seller, convincing everyone that he would win, even when no one believed in him. In the end, his story became one of the most iconic underdog victories in history. With the right people by your side, there are no limits to what you can achieve. Now that you know how the right people can transform your business, it's time to take action. Reflect on your team members and whether you already have the right pieces for success. If you're ready to take your business to the next level, start looking for these essential hires. Don't wait any longer to build the team that will turn your vision into reality. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and leave a comment about which of these team members you believe is the most crucial for your business. Let's build a successful future together.